At the clothing of a novice, often parts of the prologue of the Holy Rule of St Benedict are chosen. They give the tone. The Lord, seeking for one who will work with him in the crowd, to whom he cries these things, says, "Who is he who longs for life and desires to see good days?" Is it not the common pursuit? Good days. Well, he gives the formula for good days. If on hearing that you reply, "I am," that would apply to the candidate. God says to you, if you wish to have true and everlasting life, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. Turn aside from evil and do good. Seek and strive after peace. Pax Benedictina. It is sufficient to go beyond the front gate of a typical Benedictine or Cistercian monastery to sense that calm Pax Benedictina which has enveloped the monastic world ever since. St Benedict wrote that on Monte Cassino, the Holy Mount, still a bright lamp burning in the heart of Europe to this day. He was placed there along with his sister, St Scholastica, in the crypt. And that crypt, being underground, was not damaged by the bombardment. The monastery, of course, had to be rebuilt, but was done so by those who actually did the bombing. That was a good gesture. Peace is what actually hits one as one goes up that holy mount. One is climbing and one sees the beautiful monastery towering over the mount and a very large Pax standing out as one comes towards it. It's deliberately visible and massive so as physically to draw attention to what one is creating in a Benedictine monastery. Peace is the place of encounter where the pacified soul meets the ever-tranquil Trinity. The ocean can be ferocious. It can be bubbling and dangerous on the surface, able to do much harm. But if one goes down to the seabed, there is a tranquility. The soul and the body are made of different layers. If the body is noisy, it will impinge upon the calm of the outer layers of the spirit, soul and mind. But if the soul itself at its deepest point is anchored in the divine will and in a state of light and grace, then it can resist the ups and downs, the turbulence of the superficial layers. The monk is anchored thus. Who cares what people think of me? I look at Jesus and I have access to his peace. Many people unfortunately go through life in that turbulent mode that ruins their own peace because they're engaging 100% with the outer layers and therefore the turbulence emitted often by others. It doesn't have to be so. Benedict offers an alternative. The first enclosure is that of the soul within its body. So the body in the Benedictine life, therefore Cistercian life, to follow the same rule, is invited to be dignified, calm, and in some way humbly majestic, in such a way that the whole ambit of the monastery is peaceful and lacking in turbulence. And therefore there is order, and the order speaks of peace. Back to base, back to base, back to base, and then beauty in that base, worshipping with the angels and in their midst. In conspectu angelorum, psalm tibi Deus meus, in the sight of the angels I will praise you, my God. And therefore all that one does is based on that atmosphere. And the whole monastery, not only the church, is the Domus Dei in his spirituality, in such a way that cleanliness and order reigns everywhere, and all must be treated with respect. And therefore the brethren themselves as living tabernacles. And so he teaches courtesy. He does not like matiness. One does not say just David, but Brother David, or Dom David, or Father David, whatever it might be, but one avoids camaraderie, just going straight to the first name. It brings it down to the banal and the ordinary. For even though it is a family, it is a consecrated family, which belongs to heaven more than to earth, and therefore it's in that mystic realm that one is bonded, not just the noisy and the banal. And as regards the noisy and the banal, St Benedict excludes it. He is quite severe on the monk who causes raucous laughter. He desires that there should be something of the court of the angels reproduced on earth, for the monk is called out of humanity to be a part of heaven on earth. For the worship of God is the prime work of the monk, the work of God par excellence, opus Dei, over which nothing, he insists, must be preferred, and therefore regularity must reign. That resists the turbulence of, for instance, work, out of control. There are plenty of people out of control in work, in the world, without having more of the same in the monastery. And when a monastery starts to curtail the times of prayer and the hours of prayer, the liturgical hours, in favour of work, then it's losing the plot. The monasteries that draw the blessing of God are those that look unto him and ask him what he wants and what are his rights. For there is no need to justify the monastic life before men by all kinds of wonderful apologetics. All one needs is to look at the order of angelic creation and remember that Jesus has the right to call some just to do one thing, that of which Thérèse spoke when she discovered her true vocation. Dans le cœur de l'Église, ma mère, je serai l'amour. In the heart of my mother, the Church, I will be love. O Master, who has trod before this ancient pathway trod of yore, the silent feet of many more, Thou still dost guide us, Thou still dost guide us. And when the tears of many years, the secrets kept from mortal ears, are known again where thy word stills, thou still art listening, thou still art listening. For thou dost know this solitude that held the unknown beatitude, beheld and held in quietude, and still dost ponder, and still dost ponder. For thou didst call and calling heard the distant echo of this world, call on and call till nothing stirred, in dying wonder, in dying wonder. Yet would at times a something move, where now thou art, where ancient love burn still and whisper from above, faint not, we conquer, faint not, we conquer.